before a title already that is more based on single player. This one's for multiplayer and single player co-op. You can play it as single player as well, but it's more designed around a skirmish, a new type of gameplay rather than story-based single player. You can compare it to modern co-op games like Left 4 Dead. You have the opportunity to play as a single player, but it's more fun for players. You have to capture a certain amount of flags. In this game mode you have 11 flags on the map, and at the start you're going to have one flag, whereas the AI has 10 flags. The fans of the series wanted skirmish from us, and we said the problem is basically that we need to make a shooter and a strategy AI at the same time, and that this is way too complex to make it pleasing for the players, to have a good challenge. So we decided to make a mixture of both with a new sort of gameplay. And we also said skirmish alone is nothing more for the expansion. So we said that must be something that is valuable for single player and multiplayer. So we designed something completely new, rather made a new redesign of the game rather than just adding something new. You see this flag here, you see this menu on the side that's showing me the amount of units. I've only 4 units, infantry type units available, that is normal infantry, AT, flamers and sniper. I have also support weapons like MG and mortar. I can call this stuff in, and I get new resources. On the top you see 30 new scores every minute. This dot next to it means red is very bad, I should change my situation. Yellow is okay on easy, and green is fine on almost all game modes. Also, Man of War itself was way too difficult. We changed this by making easy a lot more comfortable and giving the player a lot more time to try out stuff actually. So you see, those are flags being held by the AI. Every flag I'm capturing will give me new resources, but also new units to choose. That means a flag is not only important just to capture to get new resources and buy new vehicles, but also to open me a new way of gameplay by, for example, this flag is giving me allied troops. This allows me to have much better infantry. This one gives me access to tanks, and the other one gives me access to AT guns and support weapons. Now, the first row of flags gives 30 scores per minute, the second row gives me 15 and the last one 5. So that means maybe I want the unit that is on that flag, but it gives me way less resources than this flag next to the road. That means I have to decide whether I want a specific unit or more resources. Also, you will see when I capture 3 flags, the first row I get access to a hero unit. Each nation has a specific hero unit. We have the Japanese, we have the Russians, we have the Commonwealth, we have the Germans and the Americans in game. And also very different to most games is you're not playing with the same units when you're playing the United States against Germans as when you play the Germans against the United States. In most games you have just the mirrored sides. You just play the units the AI has had before. In Man of War, in this expansion, you will have a complete different time setting, different layout of units. That means when you play Americans, you see German units that are not available when you play the Germans themselves. When you play Commonwealth, for example, you will have medium to early war tanks. That means the British player will have a complete different type of enemy, even if it's a German, as the Americans have. So that gives you a new value, a new sort of interesting gameplay. It's not just about, yeah, I saw all these units, I'm facing them again, like in most other games, but now you will have complete different type of units, making each nation a different sort of gameplay. Germans also have pretty weak standard infantry. They have only normal rifles, bolt action rifles that take very long to reload and shoot, whereas the Americans have excellent automatic rifles, they have BIRs, SMGs, but the Germans have by far the best MGs. That means they're very good at defending, very good at stopping infantry, but they're not so good at assaulting positions. On the other side, they have the best allied troops, so it's more about taking the right units as a German player versus as American, you can go more on massive attacks, massive advances. Now I'm going to load an American mission. Here you see how the mission progresses, how I get new units. Also multiplayer will be redesigned. We had a problem that it was too tank focused, people were choosing always a bigger tank to fight the other tank, which doesn't work in Man of War. They think bigger tank will defeat the smaller tank, but that's not true in this game because you have very detailed physics, much better than in most first-person shooters. For example, you can disable tracks, you can disable the turret, you can disable the gun barrel, you can knock out the engine, you can set up the tank on fire. That means a single infantry guy can do a lot more damage than a big tank. So in multiplayer we try to give the people not so much access to the tanks rather than give them infantry, because infantry is the most important, most interesting type of unit in Man of War actually. Now you will see we were landing here on the beach. I captured the city, the town here, the French town, and also up to here. And now you see the center flag that gives me access to a new bonus unit. The Americans, for example, have P-51 airstrike. The Germans have a remote bomb, a small tank Goliath. You can drive it around or place it next to a building and blow it up. It's very powerful but very difficult to achieve something. Because, for example, with planes you can attack behind the lines, whereas with a Goliath you won't have a chance to drive through enemy lines, so you need to be more tricky. Commodore, for example, has Royal Artillery. The Japanese have kamikaze troopers that can blow up tanks because they have very big sort of tanks. You will also notice that planes are physically calculated in-game, and if they shoot them down, or hit them actually, they will crash and destroy something on the ground. That means it's just like most other games, the plane flies over, drops some bombs and goes away. But also, you will have to think about where I'm going to attack with my plane to make it survive. Okay, any more questions?
How far along are you with the development?
2 months, so this is a very, very good version. Yeah. So, we guess in about 10 months it will be finished, but skirmish as you see is very polished already. We were working very hard on it. Also a nice feature is that when you capture a flag, you will see that new defenses will pop up for you to take cover position.